Hi everyone, Jared here. Time for the market video update. We've had once again, some interesting moving markets. The pound dollar seemed to have been the big mover of the morning. We grabbed a couple of pips out of that one, and it's kind of continued going, but we've got some great setups. Quickly, just a look at the U.S. markets. We're about 20 minutes before the close of the stocks and equities. Pretty decent day on the Dow, about 85 points so far. We'll see where that goes over the next few minutes while it closes, but looking pretty good. Everything's up. Gold is definitely up a little bit. Oil's up. Everything's kind of just holding in positive territory, and that has worked well to drive dollar pairs higher towards dollar weakness, of course. So the euro dollar, pound dollar, Aussie dollar have all been heading up. We have some important Aussie news coming out today. We're going to talk a lot about the Aussie, but we've got employment numbers coming out, and that's going to be a pretty big deal. So we've got to keep an eye on that. As well, we have the CPI for New Zealand, but we're not really going to be trading the New Zealand dollar too much. Coming into tonight and tomorrow, no major UK news, but we do have some US news in the morning. We have unemployment numbers and the CPI for the US and so on. So that could give us a little bit of opportunity to see some movement there, but nothing, not a really heavy news day. So we'll keep an eye on a couple of other things. Euro dollar. Here's the euro dollar. It's just been coming up and making some nice little runs here. So far, so good. Bottomed out pretty nicely on this daily chart. You can see that it's bottomed out pretty well on this fourth daily fib right here, and it's been turning up nicely to retracement area. Now, it really is only on the very smallest range right here. This little high to this little low, we're talking a couple of hundred pips. About 450 pips or so over, a couple of week period. The euro is retracing up into some of these key areas. Now, it looks like it's trying to get out of this channel, and I won't be surprised if it expands this channel just a little bit. But what I'm looking for is a continuation. Here's our 4-hour chart. I think we're going to be able to kind of continue past this high. We're double topping right now at the 50% fib, so this could be strong enough to really stop the market. You can see that our 50 and our 61.8 are at key levels. The 50 is right at 128.50, and the 61.8 fib level is right at 12900. So they're just 50 pips apart. But it's very common, remember, for the market to need to kind of test the 4-hour and the daily gap and kind of push through those just a little bit before reversing and making their way right back down. So I'm looking for the euro to make it to this 61.8 and give us an entry to sell up here. And I think we're going to get, I'm not looking for huge gains, but I think we're pretty safe at shooting for about 50 pips off of this 61.8. Now, we're going to try to watch this as close as we can, and depending on how market conditions go over the next several hours, and by several hours, I mean about the next 24 hours, we could put a pending order here. We just might need a bit of a large stop on it, 50, 60 pips right in that general area. Or we can, the other alternative is hopefully we'll be here watching this and we'll be able to see this kind of come up to these levels, and we can use some breakouts on the 1-minute chart and the 5-minute chart to get in back down. This will definitely bounce. When this hits 12900, it's definitely going to be making its way back down, probably about 100 pips, but at least 50. The only question that we've got is how far past it's going to push, and I think that once it makes a break past this 50% fib here, it'll probably push pretty well, and so that's why I'm a little more keen on a breakout back down than just a typical pending order. But a typical pending order might work, and we may end up putting one just above this level of the 12900, maybe about 129. 30, 40, 50, somewhere in there. And if we don't get a fill on that, then we'll be looking to trade the breakout back down on this one. So I think that's going to be a very nice little opportunity there. Once again, we're just kind of double topping at this 50% fib. We're expanding the channel, and I think that's going to be our best bet for now. There will very likely be some nice opportunities to kind of trade the break of this 50 for some very short, very quick gains. You can see that it's just really having a heck of a time there. So if we can get a little bit of a break above this 128, 52, 53 right in that general area, we can probably grab 15 or 20 pips on that movement there. So keep an eye on 128.50, but knowing that that's a fib level right there, it might be a little bit tricky, but there could be a quick short-term 10 to 15 pip breakout on the break of that level. But our bigger target is, once again, to have a pending order to sell somewhere up at that 61.8. And again, we may have a pending order a few pips above that to compensate for some of the pushing through that daily and 4-hour gap that might happen, but I think we're going to be able to see this thing come right back on down. Pound dollar, same kind of situation. The pound dollar had several tests over about a week period of this 38% fib right here. Bigger range. We see that it's been coming down very nicely, and finally it was able to break after a triple top attempt. It was able to break this 15400, and it's just a little bit above it, about 154.30 right now. Looking for this pair to reach the 61.8 as well, just like the pound or just like the euro dollar, and that's going to put it right at that 4-hour and daily gap. Still very nicely in our downtrending channel. That's just kind of putting it in that general area, and I think we're going to have some nice reversal opportunities there. There's lots of resistance. You can see some attempts at this area a week ago, and there's a 4-hour in the daily gap. So we're probably this one I feel a little bit better about just putting a typical pending order at about 15500 and looking for about 50 to 75 pips on the reversal to bring this pair back down. So 15500 should be a very strong level and should be able to give us some nice bounce opportunity to trade this pair back down. As far as opportunities go to on the short term, I don't think I'm going to be looking at too many of these breakouts. It's pretty choppy, pretty crazy. But this little breakout right here, I had this marked on my other chart. I don't know why I didn't have it updated on here, but this little breakout right here, you can see that the market is kind of trying to get up to these levels. And whenever we have failed attempts at a similar high or a similar low, excuse me, that makes for very good ingredients for a short-term breakout. So I think that we're going to get a few pips down, and this might give us a little bit of that dip we're looking for to enter for a buy potentially, but there's at least a short-term sell on this break of this 5-minute, and you can even see it on the 1-minute trend line right there. As it's failed off these levels, I think there's going to be a few pips to the downside to grab on this. So keep an eye on that. You can see that breakout happening right now right there. So keep an eye on that. But again, looking for the longer term run off of that bigger reversal there. Just a quick look here at the euro yen. Same thing on the euro yen. Very nice channel right here. It's been kind of respecting that channel very well. This channel is better in some aspects than some of the others because I like that it's just about overlapping the daily gap, and that's a pretty good sign of strong levels and strong areas there. So that channel, 4-hour daily gap, and so on, and then we've got the 50% fib level. So this 99.80 area might be a very nice spot to get some of this reversal activity and start trading this pair back down. Now it's definitely going to have some resistance getting above this area right here. This is about 98. Almost 9,900, 98, 80, 90, right in that general area. Having a hard time getting above that, but if we get into that 50, that 99.80, that should be a nice area to sell and just look for a little reversal and trade it back down into some of this resistance. Support, which it'll be then, looking for 70 to 90 pips on a move like that. So mark that on your charts, keep that there and ready. Not liking the pound yen too terribly much, but the Aussie dollar, we grabbed just a pip on this darn thing this morning, and then it was able to kind of continue and keep going. The Aussie dollar, we've been talking about if it's going to be able to break this area, and it's been having a hard time. It's been spending 2 days trying to get up here, and you can see that over the last 2 days we have a very kind of tight channel, and it looks like it's starting to break and a little bit more every day. So I like this one, and I think we have more opportunity to take this pair higher. We're just going to need to kind of keep an eye on some of these short-term movements. I think these little smaller breakouts, I may not trade a smaller breakout on this Aussie dollar. I might not. It just kind of depends. It's topping out nicely here. If it decides to break this trend line with all this resistance kind of stopping it from getting higher, it will probably be a good run of 20 pips, 20 to 30 pips, and give us an opportunity to buy a little bit down closer into this consolidation, into the moving averages and so on, looking a little bit more for probably about 10400, somewhere in that general area to buy, and even 103.90, somewhere in there I think will be a good area to buy this Aussie dollar and take it back up. But again, we've got a short-term possible breakout right here, so keep an eye on that, and that could happen somewhere around the 104.20 area, 104, high teens, right in that general area. Should be able to take that down if it doesn't break above this high here that it's testing right now, which is about just shy of 104.30. So it's almost 104.30. So if it stays below that, should be a good breakout opportunity to sell, number one, and then to turn around and buy right around this 103.80-90 area to take it right back on up. So that's what we're going to be looking for on the Aussie dollar. Make sure to pause that and kind of mark those levels and be ready for that movement. That's a nice little setup that we've got going on there. Gold, we've talked about this quite a bit. Gold made several attempts at getting lower, and it just kind of continues to bounce on this gap. This 1 hour gap is working very nicely. Moving averages staying above that very nicely. Still staying pretty bullish. It's still very in line for our target of 1680. I think it's going to have no problem reaching that, and that's kind of where I'm looking for a bit of a turning point. And I think the euro dollar, pound dollar, Aussie dollar pairs, euro yen, and so on will turn back down just a little bit once gold hits that 1680 area, and everything will kind of recover just a little bit, and then we could see big continuations on. But I think we're going to get some recovery at 1680 and 12900 and 15400 and so on. So we're going to keep an eye on those levels. We've got some good long-term setups, and I'm excited to see these things run. So we'll take it from there. Best of luck, everyone, and we'll see you in the chat.